All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to the stream. I'm joined today by Ginja. How are you today?
Doing pretty well. Very excited for this match.
Yes, and it looks like this match has been pretty anticipated, so I'm really excited to be here. As per usual, I usually just do the graphics, so I'm always happy when I can step in and help you guys out with casting. I really appreciate the work you guys do.
Yeah, in this match in particular is quite interesting. We have Colombia and Canada today for you all, or tonight, if it's pretty much everywhere tonight, I will say. Colombia has gone off to a really good start this tournament. They were first in their play-in group. They were number one, and they're also undefeated. They have not lost yet in this World Cup currently. So it's going to be interesting to see how they can do against a powerhouse like Canada, who has shown out and shown up every time for the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe World Cup. It's going to be interesting to see that.
Yeah, I know Canada is coming off of a really, really big win. Let me take a look at their history real quick because I can't remember what team they played, but take a look here.
I think it was UCA, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, that's correct. Union Caribe Americana, so, or the Caribbean American Union. So they are coming off of over 300 point differential, I believe, from that game. So they have already been real rock stars in this group stage. Uh, and really excited to see how they play today.
Yeah, Canada is definitely bringing a good lineup to this one. They have a lot of basically their entire lineup is veterans. They have very experienced players playing tonight, and there's a lot of unpredictability. I think the tracks are going to be pretty much more based game because of that experience. But then again, I think these players are very familiar with those DLC tracks as well, which we're probably going to see a lot of as well in case of like mid spot tracks to baggers. We're probably going to see more of those DLC tracks. But in terms of the lineup that Canada brought out today, it's unbelievable and it's very, very solid.
Yes, it looks like I may have misspoken earlier. I thought that they had won by over 300, but they were pretty dang close at 258 in that match. Would you like to introduce their lineup and the player to watch real quick?
Yeah, so we have Christo, Tynan, Jack, Bird, Schism, and Jackie. And I could tell you all of these players in this lineup right now are players to watch. But if I have to pick someone in particular, it has to be Tynan. They are the most experienced player in this lineup, also up there with Christo. But those two in particular are going to be my players to watch. But that mid pack, Jack, Schism, even Jackie to an extent, that's going to be very confusing, by the way, Jack and Jackie. But they are two separate players in their own right. And also, fun fact Bird, I believe, plays Cooper Troopa. So that's going to be fun to see. And just this entire team, they have definitely a lot of experience, not only playing the game, but playing in a team like setting. It's going to be very difficult for Colombia to find that groove early, especially in this particular matchup due to that firepower.
Yeah, for sure. I know that personally wrote down Bird as my player to watch since I did this graphic. But I think that you make a very good point that the Tynan in particular is really an additional player to watch as well. Um, and I will go ahead and talk about Colombia's lineup. I spelled it right this time. Hooray for me. I'm so sorry to poor Colombia because I spelled their name wrong on the last graphic. But like we mentioned earlier, they are coming off of a 3-win, 0 loss record from the play-in stage, which was Group Z. And they have a positive 224 points from their 3 matches, and that's their point differential there. So for their players today, we have Elysia, Lucky Cat, Vic, Legendcito, Jay Ray, and Coda on their primary lineup, with our player to watch being Elysia today, not only being watch because they're super cool, but they also have a POV for us. And their subs for today are Dele and N, who is their captain. It looks
Yeah,
like in the chat we've already got a lot of supporters for both Canada and Colombia in the chat, so.
yeah, it should definitely be a fun match to watch. And in terms of Colombia, the two names that stick out to me are Vic and Coda. Those two players in particular have the most experience. But Elysia, we're going to see them today, and I'm going to be interested to see how they play against such a great team in Canada. Again, I think this is going to be a lot closer than people may expect, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it gets out of hand if Canada gets their track picks because they basically have a player for every role, which is a good runner, a good mid-pack player, and a good person in the back or a bagger. So they have a mix of both, and it's going to be interesting to see what Colombia can do against that. And it's good experience with them being 3-0 and doing extremely well in the group stage. It's going to be interesting to see how they can adjust to that in terms of this matchup.
Yeah, like you said, if they let Canada get away with it in the first half, I anticipate that it might be hard to catch up. So I'm curious about their track picks and how they're going to tackle such a team with like that huge firepower coming off with over 200 points from their first game, Canada. So very, very interested to see how this shakes out. And this is Colombia's first match in our group stage and not just in the play-ins. So I'm very curious to see how they play.
Yeah, going off of that group stage, they played very well. They had some really good matches, at least early on there, but it will be interesting to see what they can do in the upcoming stages, especially with the group stage. Now the competition has taken a big step up and the adjustment is going to have to be made. They were very solid in that play-in, but the play-in versus the group stage is an entirely different formula, and you have to constantly watch out for the firepower and honestly the players as a whole. You just have to watch out constantly because at this point, it's you got to think of something, and it's going to be interesting to see who steps up for honestly both sides. I kind of know who's going to step up for Canada, but for Colombia, it's going to be interesting to see who really steps up because it's hard. It's going to be a hard match, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm being very blunt. It's going to be very difficult. It's going to be a tough task, but they can certainly do it, and they can certainly find a way.
Yeah. I personally am a little more familiar with Colombia's roster. I know Elysia does tend to have a lot of firepower, and we already have some people mentioning Jabin Ray in the chat there. Um, I believe that's how it's pronounced, but I'm not quite sure. In any case, I it looks like the room is still filling up, so as far as I can tell. Is there any other commentary you had so far, Ginja, as far as lineup here?
Not necessarily. I think at this point, I kind of know what I'm going to expect from both sides. I feel like Canada, in terms of, I'm going to switch a little bit gears here to like more focus on the track picks. In terms
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
what Canada wants to do, they probably want to start with a runner, RWS. We've seen that track as a starter in several matches in this tournament, but it also depends on their starting spots, which we don't know at this point what they're going to start at. And if that first race, these races go extremely quick. It's only 45 minutes approximately. So you constantly have to watch out and really just play effectively because there is little to no room for error in this one, especially if you're Colombia. You have to find a way to get a track pick, not only get a track pick, get multiple of them, of course, but just if the track pick is not selected, you have to find any sort of way to make it work because at this point, it just comes down to skill, and it's going to be interesting to see what can happen there.
Yeah, I do anticipate like our match yesterday where we casted Japan versus did we cast Japan? Yes, that's what it was. They will have a lot of runners if Canada can get away with it. Track picks in particular will be very crucial for Colombia. But let me take a look here. I was just watching the chat really quick. Lots of Canada supporters in the chat. I'm very excited.
Yeah, it should definitely be a great match to watch. It looks at this point they have about I think 10 players in room at this point. So just a little bit longer in terms of the wait there. But I do expect it to start extremely soon. I think we're just waiting on, I believe, two Colombian players at this point in the room. But again, it's going to be interesting to see not only what you can do, but just how both of these teams really strategize early. They're probably focused, ready to go. Just at this point, it's the waiting game. And this is also kind of a mental side of it as well. We've seen in other wars how it's started immediately, but the fact that it's taking a little bit longer than usual to start is a sign that it could be, honestly, anything could happen because of that. And just going in with a open mindset, especially in this one, is extremely important.
And just to kill a little bit more time while we're waiting, Ginja, are you a part of a team?
I did play back in the day. I was a part of many teams. I ended up with Only Friends. Shout out to those guys. The final team of 8 Deluxe. But at this point, I've in terms of my past, I've been on so many teams. There's like a whole list of teams that I've been on. So I've been playing since 2017. Again, these players have played even longer than me. Tynan, I know. Crystal, I know. Those players have played even longer than me. So they have a lot of experience there. And I think experience, especially in a war like this, even with World being out and sort of taking over, the fact that they still are playing 8 Deluxe and this World Cup is going to heavily favor them in terms of that. But yes, I certainly do have experience there.
Yeah, I am very much newer to the competitive scene. I started really treating competitive stuff more seriously around 2024 when I joined the National Racing Collegiate. But in all honesty, I'm still very new to being a staffer for Mario Kart Central and that kind of stuff, and just learning team dynamics overall. So I always appreciate getting the chance to cast with more experienced people like you. I'm currently on Racing Forever. I'm not sure if any of my teammates are in the chat like they were yesterday, but if you are, hello, friends. But yeah, still very, very appreciative to always be learning something new from more experienced casters and more experienced players. I'm just amazed by how much knowledge you can have in such a, I feel like a straightforward type of game. So,
Yeah, it looks like we're going to start here, and I think we're going to be a 5v6. It's unfortunate that Colombia could not get in time per se, but I think in terms of the track selections, it's going to be interesting to see what is picked. Maybe a runner for we're going to see the Music Park and Twisted Mansion here. Actually, I think they do have 12. Never mind.
yeah, it looks like we may
Yeah, they
have
do have
miscounted.
12.
Only
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
allowed to mess up numbers, you silly goose.
But yeah, we do have everyone in, and Music Park and Twisted Mansion, two tracks that honestly we saw this yesterday. We both saw this yesterday with yes, we did see it yesterday. I'm blanking
I'm
on the
so
name,
sorry.
but
My brain is so fried, but it is. We did see it in Japan versus Mexico, both
yes,
of these
that's what it
tracks.
was. Yes. But we're gonna
And
see
we have
Twisted
Twisted
Mansion
Mansion.
here. Yep. Good starting track in terms of Colombia. They definitely wanted this. And I do expect, again, first set matters a lot. You get good items at the first item box and set yourself up well for the remainder of the race. It's just so impeccable. To set yourself up well, maybe pulling a shroom. If you're in second or third and you pull a shroom, you can take that cut at the start, but unfortunately for Cristo, missing that first item set. So they're going to have to play this from the back here at this point. But a lot of players actually are going to go wide instead. We see Tynan, I believe, that there. And right now it's very, very close.
Yeah, look at everyone just basically on top of each other here coming into the anti-gravity segment. Um, like I mentioned yesterday, after that first shortcut, you can kind of get away with running this track, and we see that Koopa Troopa in the front there. So we shall see if these mushrooms will allow people to shroom up and hopefully catch them and turn the tides here. Excellent horn there, making some space for Cristo.
And getting the red off as well, but it is a 1-3. That is Bird in first, starting off really strong here. Lucky in second. We do see as well Schism coming up, but unfortunately Cristo running into that banana. Tynan as well, but the blue is out, and it's going to hit Bird out, at least for now. They're going to maybe get on the glider. They're going to get on the glider, so it's...
Oh, it looks
they
like
actually
they
had a
may
horn.
have had a horn, yes.
So they did, yes. They did have a horn, and that lead is growing. But we do see Colombia's actually 2-3, so they're not in a bad spot at this point. We see also a lot of Colombian members up there as well. One of them had a star, so that forced it to be burnt a little bit early. And Alicia now having a star and triple mushrooms in the back of the pack, such a great pull and setting themselves up well here, entering this final few corners. Oh, unfortunate ghost.
Yes, but at least that star did end up protecting them from what it seems like a million backed fires back to back. And it looks like they may have broken that red on a wall.
Incredible use of the wall dodge there, and I think that's going to be at least decent enough for Colombia. Maybe if they can cross 2-4 isn't bad, but 1-3, yeah,
wow.
2-4-5, not bad for Colombia. Very even race. I don't think it's, if Canada won that race, it's probably not by a lot, very close one. And that's probably what Colombia wanted there as well.
Someone in the chat says, who's on Koopa, bro, and why are they taking care of business? Yes, that would be Bird. That is one of our players on our players to watch list. Hopefully that clears things up because they were dominating that race. As we come into the second round of track picks, we have Boo Lake, a very, very strong runner, and Electrodrome.
Yeah, only a +2 there for Canada. So again, very even race, and that's probably what they wanted in terms of that. But Electrodrome and Boo Lake from Canada, I think they wanted this to sort of mix up those picks a lot and mix up those positions. They have first, and they don't have much else, so they have to find a way to keep that. But once again, Colombia gets a track pick. They get Electrodrome, and that is once again going to benefit them at least to an extent. Lucky in second, going to try to pass Bird on that Koopa Troopa with the inward as well, which I didn't even notice they're on inward. So that's something to note for later.
I find this track to be very fun on inward. I'm not sure if it's even really all that beneficial to play on inward on this track, but it is very fun. And it is a very good spot for middles. So we're going to see a lot of drafting here at the start of the race.
Yeah, immediately, actually, Bird getting up to a great start again. Top 2, 4 at least for Canada at this point. But I like the pull that Elysia has. They have the mushroom for the ending shortcut. You have to watch out because everyone around them could be a target, and you have to use your shroom wisely. And they're actually going to drift off and take first and have a mushroom in first as well. But the red going to come out, not going to hit them there, but we see they're just going to shroom up right away and going to trail this bomb as well. Yeah, I like the fact that they're going to trail because Schism is right there as well as that. The bomb coming up, I think it took out Schism. And Colombia now going to be in those top spots, and the bomb thrown away. Very solid play there from Elysia.
Yeah, and it is very easy to note that everyone's going to take probably that pink path because it is a lot faster. So you can... Oh, and the blue is out, I believe, from what I'm seeing on the radar, but it was horned. Yep, there it is.
Yeah, and in that situation, it's probably good to horn there, but we also see the pack at this point is very split. We do see 1-3 for Colombia, but I think Bird actually is in the middle of the pack now, so that's going to be interesting to know. I think it's all yellow Yoshis or Birdos, and the
What a
shock
shock!
is going to come into play, and I think it was a Canadian shock, but we do see Vic dodging on the purple path, so that's going to be interesting. And I like the fact that Cristo is holding this last mushroom just in case it gets ghosted. Bird is up there as well. They're probably going to use one of them now, but this pack is going to be so close. A green coming out, I think it took out one, but I think that was a Canadian winning race there. I think they got 1-3-4.
Yep,
And they
one, three,
did.
four. Mm-hmm. That would be a winning race for Canada. Very well played at the end there. Keeping those mushrooms on hand definitely helps for that final cut, especially when everyone is super duper close together. So
They perfectly utilize that shock to benefit them greatly. And that's kind of why tracks like that could go either way. But once again, we're going to see the Blue Lake pick here. And this is probably a Canada special track. And they want to pick it because they know they're good on it. And they want to build more of a lead because they're up 16. It's very early in this one. But I wouldn't be surprised that also, Colombia picking Dolphin Shoals doesn't surprise me either. I feel like it's a benefit to them. They can stay in the back and go for shot, but they can also play that mid-pack game and try to get to the front. So it's going to be interesting to see. But we're going to finally see Blue Lake finally being picked there. And again, Canada, it's a very short track. I think this is going to benefit Canada a lot.
yes, especially with these top spots, considering how strong of a runner you can treat this map. I actually don't see Dolphin Shoals picked as often, so I'm curious about kind of the strategy with that, but we did end up on Blue Lake, so yep, there they are, and they take that running spot almost instantly. Cristo does.
Yeah, Cristo and Tynan are up there just holding down the fort. Just utilizing those turns. They're going to go for the Nisk here, take it out with a green, but Elysia takes out the cardboard cutouts for them.
Oh, what a shot on Elysia!
From Elysia from Cristo, and taking that rail is faster, so that's going to be even more of a lead now for Cristo, just holding on to it. The red won't do anything there, but such a good pull. Having that horn.
Yep.
Just don't want it to get ghosted because at this point,
Oh, and they're using
all
it now.
Colombia is right there, and you have to find a way to keep that because at this point, you want to keep it for as long as possible, and they're going to go for the snipes here, and I would not be surprised if more reds are going to come out, and they are. But again, they're going to come out, but they're not going to do much because Cristo has that double defense.
Oh my gosh, Cristo is just trying to take away with or get away with this run, but Colombia is not going down without a fight.
They're definitely not going
Ooh,
down
double
without a
mushroom
fight
pull.
indeed. It is a good pull, but Kodo and Gibran are up there. Can they hold it is the question. The horn going to have to be used. Cristo at this point is just trying to steal it, and he doesn't. It's a 1-3 for Colombia. Definitely what they needed there, but unfortunately, Elysia getting last. I think a bottom two there as well.
Yeah, poor Elysia. All right, let's take a look. Colombia did get 1-3 there, but Canada getting all of those other top spots.
Yeah, and just a great race, honestly, for Canada to catch back up. They got second, and then they got basically everything else in that mid pack. So, if it is a winning race for Colombia, it's really not that much of a winning race. I don't know actually if it was or not. I can't even tell. They're down. They're only down 20 though. Yeah, they're down 20. So we're entering 4 now. Grumble Volcano. This is a good pick from Canada, having those mid spots. Immediately able to draft. That's the strategy behind that. And Piranha Plant Slide, I think, is for the inward player who might have gotten first. There, I'm not exactly sure, but definitely of a benefit to Colombia there, as it is going to be Piranha Plant Slide, and that, again, benefit to Colombia.
Yep, Piranha Plant Slide or Piranha Plant Pipeway, depending on your localization. I'm very excited to see how Colombia plays this track. It is one of my favorites. But but I do really just like the Mario Kart 7 tracks, so I guess I'm a little biased.
Yeah, this is definitely a fan favorite, really everywhere in terms of this pick. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Canada tries to get up there as well early on. It's going to be
And
interesting
there
to
they
see what
go.
they can do. And yeah, just as I said, they are getting up there, and they actually are pretty much in the front, I believe, at this point. And Elysia missing that item box probably going to be super unfortunate for them. And just another thing that I haven't really talked about is spacing. You have to constantly be able to space out. We see players holding on to the reds and not really utilizing them immediately, and I like that strategy. And Elysia having a mushroom here actually will be a benefit. We see 3-4 players going to shroom up. The fire going to come out, only one, because again, they have to be extremely careful because Coda is in first, so it's constantly something you have to watch out for.
Yeah, I know for sure that fire can be very easy to hit your teammates if you accidentally use too much of it. So, very good play there. As Christo also has fire, but deciding to back it there for favor of chaining with another item, and they pull a single mushroom and redded out. Unfortunate.
Yeah, now Vic, I believe, having, I think, green. So that's going to force Christo to go a little bit wide, and Vic is probably going to play aggressive with these greens. Actually throwing them forward and almost hitting Jack in the process, but I like where Canada is at. We do see a member of Colombia really far back, so that means that they're probably going to go for shock. But also, Colombia is top two and getting bombed there, and Vic stole the star, so that's a huge benefit to them. They are set up very, very well here at this point, but the blue is going to be thrown right now, and that could foil everything at this point. But then again, Crystal, I like the utilization.
Oh, they have a mushroom in first. There we are.
They're going to dodge it, and they're going to have a red, but can they hold on here? I think players are going to shroom up here. The red is going to be pulled, but I think they're going to hold on to first.
Yeah, I think that bomb earlier was because somebody ran into Christo's Crazy 8 and hit them while they were getting that star. So I believe that's where that came from. But very effective race for Colombia again. Very similar spots. Canada getting 2, 4, and 5.
Yeah, the bottom two is going to hurt a little bit for Colombia at this point, but I would not be surprised. Again, we're going to see the Grumble Volcano, and Ice Outpost potentially could be picked here. So that could be interesting, at least on my end to see, because of the fact that, you know, it's not really played that much, but it's an interesting pick. And I honestly think both of these tracks could favor either team. I really don't know what to expect out of that.
Yeah, do you find I don't see Ice Outpost picked as often as I would anticipate. Do you think that it's a very good track for competitive stuff?
I believe it is, and it's really a mixed bag in terms of spots because it's so unpredictable, and obviously shocking after the last set is so devastating on lap 3 that you constantly have to play around that, especially early on. And going for shock, there's, yeah, unfortunately, lucky D seed, so that probably cost them a couple points. But luckily, they are back in immediately. And Ice is played and is this track selection here, so it's going to be interesting to see how Colombia can utilize that.
I know while this track is technically a drafter, it's technically the best spots are also in the front. So, but as we're seeing here from Elysia's POV, the bumps on this track are kind of nuts, especially in these very hard to reach shortcut areas. So hopefully they don't get bumped off. That would be really unfortunate. It looks like they just got, oh, and they got hit by a green right after that shortcut.
Yeah, honestly, super unfortunate there. It does lose them a little bit of time. And we actually do see a couple members of Canada. They're holding on to first, but they also have fourth. So they're in a good spot here. And I also like the shrooms being utilized here. And Christo utilizing the red and taking over third place and going just for a single item box because it is faster in the triple nano pull.
Oh, wow.
Such a great
right
pull,
on the shortcut.
taking out one of members of Colombia, and that's a top 2 now for Canada.
Yeah, and if they can get away with it, they will run this track to the very end. So I'm curious to see, but Colombia is in all of those mid spots right there. I just see a sea of yellow behind Cristo here, so I'm very curious to see how they'll play the last lap of this track.
They are also, Colombia is in a great spot because they're last. They have that advantage for them, but lucky, I think having triple reds, that's going to be big, but it's going to take out their teammate, unfortunately. But the shot
and a
coming into
shock.
play, and that could have been a Canada shot that it was. That's going to be such a big race for Canada. And I talked about this. Shock on lap 3 is so devastating, really, in any sort of environment. It's going to be a great race. I think maybe a top 4 or top 3 at least. Actually, no, top 4 for Canada. Top 4 for Canada.
Yeah. And unfortunately for Cristo getting one of those bottom spots, but top 3 usually will be a winning race no matter what. Oh, let's see. 1 through 4, actually. Very, very good race for Canada.
Yeah, they utilized the shock perfectly, and that's gonna put them up at least 40, maybe closer to 50 actually. And RWS, I talked about it earlier. I expected it, and it is going to be at least selected by Canada. And Trainbow, we saw this yesterday with Mexico picking it. But can Colombia? It is honestly, it is quite dire because it's a situation where if Colombia loses this race, it's going to be really hard to come back from. So they have to be able to figure out what they can do in terms of strategizing, and getting RWS is probably not a good sign for them.
Yeah, as we like to call it, R-dubs, it is a very, very strong runner. It's no shock that getting top 4, this would be picked, so hopefully Colombia can figure out a way to upset their top positions, but it will be really difficult on this track.
It's going to be really difficult because of that firepower and that first set. Really, if you get trailed out...
trailed out! Oh no! Poor Cristo!
And Bird as well getting trailed out is there, and as I was saying, getting trailed out there, especially at the start, it makes it harder to come back from, especially later on. So right now, Bird and Cristo are in the back. But we also see a lot of Colombian players in the back as well. So it looks to me like Canada, at least for the moment, is holding first, and top 2. But I don't know about anything else because I think Colombia is holding the rest of those spots actually.
It seems like they went for a very aggressive approach. Colombia did, trying to get out at least 1 or 2 of those top players, but they may have only gotten the mid spots for Canada out from that initial lineup. So very curious to see if they're going to try and run away with this. There's a couple players in the back right now duking it out, perhaps for shock.
We see the battle of shock there. Nice trail from Jabron, and the bomb not going to do much there. But right now, top 2, but really nothing else.
By a ring again. Oh no.
Canada,
maybe they're looking for some sort of item here that. Let's see. Yeah, they're just gonna shroom up here. And blue is out.
Yeah, so that's going to hit out one of the members of Canada who's ever up there. But at this point, you have to think, oh, they're just going to get hit out. No horn in play. They're actually holding on to this ghost, so that could mean shot could be in play per se, but they're going to actually use it right away. And unfortunately, only stealing a coin, probably not what they wanted. Honestly, in terms of the spots, it's looking better now for Canada than it did originally, but
yeah,
I think they are going to be all right. And yeah, getting last there, probably not the situation. 10-12. I think it's a great race, honestly, for Canada. 1-4-5, so that's going to be actually pretty solid for them, but not as good as I expected.
I know they had those top 4 spots. I was kind of anticipating a fridge of sorts, but Colombia is not going down without a fight. That's for sure.
Yeah, they're definitely holding on to whatever spots they are. They're down 52 after the halfway mark, and again, it is still close and it is still doable for them. They just need one big race to get back into it. So Dolphin Shoals, a track that can definitely influence that. And DK Jungle, once again from Canada, they're just going to go for these running tracks because at this point, you have to think the running tracks are going to be a huge benefit and they're going to pay off big time. But we are going to see the DK Jungle pick. So once again, Canada gets their pick.
Yeah, it seems, maybe I'm mistaken, but it seems like we've had a majority Canada track picks so far. And this is going to be a very effective track pick for their spots, but I'm pretty curious if they may have also picked that since it's relatively anti-inside as well. Because you can see that inside player right up at third place right there.
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking that's probably why they can't do the super bounce, or it's really, really hard to actually do the super bounce on inward. So it's looking like an interesting situation, but they're still up there. They are still in the middle of the pack, but right now, Gale Christoph getting redded out there, and
Yep.
that's going to have them lose a little bit of time. But Elysia now in eighth, holding on to two mushrooms, just opting to really wait and try to chain this last one. They're probably going to chain it here, wouldn't be surprised. But an 8th place box, probably not what you want. Getting fire, going to be at least helpful, but not going to team kill there. You got to be very careful. Bird is up there, but I think at this point, besides first, Canada is occupying 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, and that's going to be really, really hard for first to maintain their lead if everyone is up on their butt there just trying to get them out. And the blue is out.
And it is going to hit out that player. They tried to stop for it, but they are unfortunately going to lose all that time. And I think at this point, it's a top 5 for Canada, and they're just looking to roll away with it. And at this point, if you're Colombia, you desperately, desperately need a shot. You need to find a way to get back up there immediately because it is looking extremely dire.
Yeah, and it is very hard on this map with the super narrow sections to not team kill. So seeing some of the item plays from this team's being effective is very cool to see. Another blue? Wow. That felt very fast.
Yep, that is the nature of DK Jungle. But they have a horn and they're able to dodge it. I expected that. I think they wanted to switch their positions there. But the Ghost coming in for Cristo. The two sets of triple mushrooms are going to help. This is going to be a big race for Canada here, as long as there's no shock. The triple greens are going to do massive amounts of damage as well. And that's going to take out, that's a top... I think Vic was up there actually. So top 2, 4, 5. Yes, that was a top 2, 4, 5. And a bottom 4. That is disastrous for Colombia.
Oh, poor Colombia. I mean, it was kind of anticipated with the spots that Canada had and the fact that Canada was basically running away with it after that second lap. But very devastating for Colombia. I'm very curious to see if they might pick a bagger here. But I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to go for a bagger at this point. Try to just find a way to gain any sort of momentum back because they're going to just go for the Trainbow pick again. And again, this is a interesting one, but again, it doesn't surprise me. It could be very beneficial, honestly.
I know at least with Trainbow, the best starting spot is going to be in the back. It's one of those back drafters as opposed to a front drafter, so I'm not surprised by that pick. But I was anticipating a bagger, so I'm curious about the thought process with that one. And it's going to be Hyrule Circuit.
Yeah, once again, another runner for Canada, so it's going to benefit them. And let's see if they can take advantage of this once again.
Yep, and as you discussed yesterday, this is a very good track pick if you are top 2, because you can get that left-hand side and right-hand side coins and just sort of run away with it if you can.
Yeah, and getting off to a good start on this track is a huge benefit. If you want to be able to succeed, especially early, getting a good start is key. But I also like the positioning that Canada has. Having 1 to 2 players in the back is very key in terms of shock. Just staying in the back, trying to get those powerful items. Even on track like
Ooh, what a
Pyro
bomb!
Circuit, the bomb coming out there and going to take out some players, but I think the spots are still relatively the same with Bird, I believe, in first, followed by another player.
And poor Elysia getting hit out by some stray fire there, and getting bumped all over the place. But it looks like Colombia is trying to get up into those top spots, with Canada being at 2-3, which they may have just spun out there. Yeah, Colombia just got hit out of first, so.
Yeah, now Canada having, once again, top 2. But we also do see a much better swing of spots now for Colombia as well. You always have to watch out for shock, but their positioning is better than it has been. But then again, the blue is going to come out. A horn, honestly, could be in play here once again. And it's going to go for Bird, actually, but they're just going to take it.
Oh, it's a mushroom, I believe. Yeah. And it looks like everyone in the back just keeps hitting each other. So now the pack is a little bit more split up here.
Yeah, definitely Canada was able to immediately catch back up, but this star pull, at least for the end, is going to be a huge Coda getting back. That's super unfortunate for them. But now you just got to use your star and just catch back up. Get as many spots as you can, but at this point, it is not what you want to see if you're a Colombian fan. A great race once again.
Wow,
Top
1 through 4.
Top 2,
Amazing
top 4,
race
6 for Canada. Once again, just a great race from them, and it's looking like extremely dire. You have to get a winning race. You have to not only get a winning race, even with the last GP, you just have to get back into this, because I think they're down at least 100 now. Yeah, they're down 110, so it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard, but it is still possible.
It is still possible. It's not over until it's over, because we still have 4 races to go here. Very curious to see what track pick that Colombia will have as we go over there. Animal Crossing from Canada. That was not something I was expecting.
Yeah, definitely unexpected, but I think at this point they just want a track where they're comfortable in and they can try to put this away, and I think it will be a benefit, honestly.
Animal Crossing is the track that is selected on this roulette. I do not see this track picked very often in the competitive scene at all. I like, you could hear my shock. I was like, whoa. So very interested on that one.
Yeah, and they get the winter form as well. As you do know, this track has 4 different forms depending on the season. So they do get winter, so that's going to mean the road is a little bit more icy. Turns are going to be a little bit harder to make, so you have to constantly watch out. We do see Elysia, unfortunately, hitting the grass and losing a little bit of time. But again, you drift so wide, you have to expect that and try to play around that as much as possible in that section. But it gets a little bit easier on this one. But again, just Canada right now, just having... Actually, I don't think they have first, but they do have 2-3, so that's going to be a benefit. And also getting a trail out, I think... Now I think it's Colombia up there.
Yeah, I think that Krista's trying to treat this more like a bagger, but I'm not super sure. Let me look it up really quick.
I think you can play it as a bagger. I think it just depends on the situation, and I actually like that strategy. I think we do see Bird and another Colombian player in the back trying to get shock, and really, it comes down to that last shortcut. The blue is out, going to take out, I believe that's Elysia still in first. The shot's going to come in to cancel blue. So that's going to be big, but what a pull from Krista. That is exactly the type of pull that they needed. And they're going to just take over first here. And they're going to have, but as I say that, the plant from Vic able to take them out. But, I mean, at this point, you have to hope, but getting that mushroom is going to be beneficial for Crystal at this point. But this pack is so close now. Jackie coming up there, top 2 from Canada. Can they hold on to it once again in this one? But we do see the trail action from Legend. but going to get immediately redded out there. Just players going to be switching spots constantly. Elysia
Oh
having this
my
mushroom.
goodness.
Vic getting trailed out. I think Elysia is going to hold on for first. That's a huge for them to get
Oh
back in this
man.
one.
Looks like it did end up being a
146.
winning race for Canada there. Their top spots must have gotten shaken up at the end there because it looked like 1, 2, 4, 5 at the end from Colombia, but perhaps that trail just devastated them. I saw a ring in play as well, so quite unfortunate. I thought they were going to run away with that.
Might have been still winning race actually for Canada, but it's going to be very close or even per se. Yeah, I think it actually. Yeah, I think it was a slightly winning race for Colombia there. So good job there on that track. And they're going to go Royal here, or they're going to go Cloud Top and Vic picking Royal, but everyone else going Grumble. And in terms of Canada, they're picking Grumble
The
because they have those mid spots. And Colombia going to go for the Cloud Top because they do have first. And that matters.
Oh man, I think the Royal Raceway pick is load bearing. No, I'm kidding, but it is gonna be Cloud Top, so another runner, and another one that can be a little bit trickier on inside because of that super bounce. So, we shall see if Canada can run away with this, or if Colombia will use this advantage with Elysia in the front to try and gain more spots.
Yeah, let's see if Elysia can hold on at the start because of all that presence behind them. They're going to go for the super bounce and nail it to perfection. I think we see a red there, so they're going to get hit out immediately. They just have to hope and pray. They have the spacing for it. You're just going to have to trail immediately. I actually like the fact that they're holding on to the reds and not getting it out immediately because of spacing purposes. And players can switch spots and try to red the player out of first, which is probably what we're going to see here, and great timing on the lightning, so I believe you can cross that, but at this point, it all misses the
missing
item
the
box,
item set
and
there.
just, the triple green's going to
And
come
the
out and take them out.
trail! Oh,
Yeah,
devastating for poor Elysia.
It's super, super unfortunate. Just really couldn't do anything about it either because they missed that item box. Just super unfortunate, but that's going to allow Canada to occupy a lot of those top spots. I think they have at least top 3, maybe top 4, maybe top 5 even. And I also like how they have one player in towards the back of the pack. And it seems like I have been mistaken. I think they are playing more towards the front. Canada right now really dominating the front presence here. At this point, Colombia needs shock.
Yes, for sure. At least with these current placements, it will be very hard for them to catch up if they do not pull shock. I know that glider set makes enough difference, or enough distance, I mean to say, between first and last to try and pull that shock, but I'm not sure if they did end up pulling. Yeah, it would be a star, so they may not have pulled it. We're not sure though. But Canada is just going to try and run away with this. One thing I have noticed with people holding on to reds, it can be because that pack is so close together that they don't want to accidentally have a teammate pass them and accidentally hit their teammate. I've noticed that as well.
Right now, a top 5 for Canada. Can the shock be pulled here? Can it be used or will?
Oh!
Yes, it is. It is, and that means that Colombia is coming up. Can they use this through their advantage at this point? It seems like it's not going to, unfortunately, do too much. Maybe it's done something.
Maybe they got it.
Maybe 2,
Okay.
3, 5. So that's going
2,
to be
3, 5, 7.
at least helpful. I think that's it. I believe that's it, though. I don't think it was enough in terms of that difference, but it still was a great race. So congratulations to Canada. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they are victorious. They're gonna be 2-0 in this one. They have won, and good job to them. They definitely utilize those track picks that they got to the fullest extent, and honestly, great job. It is over now. They are, unfortunately, Colombia has lost this match, but again, they have gotten a lot of experience from this match, and they also only are probably going to lose between 150 to maybe even 90. You never really know because they could get a good track pick like a Dolphin shows. They're still going to play it out here because the experience required in the upcoming matches are going to be extremely important. So this is still worthwhile, especially for the differential as well.
Oh, and we do end up getting Dolphin Shoals there. Even if a Canada win is guaranteed at this point, the point differentials do matter in how we calculate standings, so I'm hoping that they can make up some of that loss there. Like you said, probably between -90 and -150, but I'm curious how they will utilize this track in particular because I think they might be able to shake up these placements a little.
Yeah, I definitely think they can certainly shake it up a little bit there. But you have to sort of realize that this track can easily be unpredictable, especially with that bullet extension. You have to constantly watch out for that. And just the fact that, again, it's a great track for mid spots, but right now it seems like a lot of Canadian players are up there towards the front.
Yep, and as we're looking here, it looks like Elysia is still near the back, and Canada having a lot of items here, trailing in 6th right now.
I actually like what they're doing here, trying to get Jack out. It looks like they are able to do so, well, at least for the moment, but they're just gonna, I would suggest, well, they can't really slow down now, but they were trying to slow down to hit one of the Canadian team members there, so you have to constantly watch out for that. But at this point, we do see a lot of Colombia in the back of the pack, so they're going to have to find a way to catch back up because it's a lot of Canadian in the front.
Yeah, like you mentioned, I believe there's actually, let me double check really quick, but I believe that there are 2 bullet bill extensions, which makes it, yeah, 2 large bullet bill extensions, which can make this, oh, and shock is in play.
Canada has it, so if you're Gibran, if you're Canada, actually, yeah, you can't use it now because we do see the extension, so they're probably going to nail it after the extension, probably right before that last item set. And I would not be surprised if, you know, just the situational awareness, but the shock actually going to come into play there, and that's actually big for Colombia there, but they're going to be bottom 2 pretty much guaranteed at this point, so they're going to have to, actually, wait, maybe not, because this build is going to come up from Legend. Can they really do anything? I think that's a top 5, though. I think it's pretty much just super, super unfortunate. They did get 10-11, but Canada did, but just not enough. Top 4 once again, just super, super unfortunate.
I was anticipating a bit more of a shakeup there near the end with that shock because I saw that a couple of Colombia players ended up dodging. So, however, it seems that maybe they were just a little bit too far back, or they may not have pulled a bullet or something along those lines, and so Canada is just kind of sweeping right now.
Yeah, they're definitely in a great position, and again, at this point, you just have to play for that differential. It really does matter, and you got to hope and pray that you get a good race here to end it off. The Rock pick and Schism going for the 3DS Rainbow Road. I'm not surprised by that at all. Certainly loves that track, but yeah,
Maybe
just again the
right
N64
here.
Rainbow Road, but yeah, just the unfortunate DC there from Colombia. Just yeah, it's just super unfortunate at that point.
Yeah. Rock Mountain or Alpine Pass, depending on your localization. I'm not sure why the name is so different between each localization, but I don't see this track picked very often at all in competitive stuff. I'm pretty sure it's just because the shortcuts just kind of make the track. It's kind of hard to run, so very curious pick from Canada there.
Yeah, definitely more of a bagger. We see a couple of Colombian players just opting to play it as such, starting off in the back, and immediately it's just a lot of Colombia in the back. We just have to watch out for that.
Yeah, I actually don't know if I have personally seen Rock picked in a tournament yet for the World Cup, so another one of those tracks where you can audibly hear my shock, but getting a nice mushroom to get right up into the front there with Christo pulling a horn as well. That'll be very helpful for Christo.
Yeah, and I think his team is right behind there. Tynan is there, Lucky getting hit out, so that's going to allow, at least for now, Christo and Tynan to really get a big run. And Elysia now with these triple greens gonna take out Bird, so that's gonna at least make it 3-4 now for Colombia. And I actually kind of like the fact that Elysia is burning these mushrooms, but they aren't going to pull more of them, so that's going to be super unfortunate. But the bomb getting stolen, they're probably just going to get a double here, trying to hope for a mushroom, but cannot get it.
Oh, and a
Such
shot
coming in as well. Just, I honestly think it actually benefits Colombia there a little bit, but I think it was a Canadian shot, actually, so now top 4 for them.
Yeah, that felt pretty early, so in all honesty, we might still see a shock in play by the end of it, depending on the distance between first and last, so.
Yeah, at this point, you have to think that just hope and pray you get up there if you're Colombia. But you do have a lot of time. You have a large shortcut coming in. Oh, what a
and
back.
Backed.
Unnecessary, but it does get the job done. And we see Christo actually having a mushroom. Gee, what a back with that red. Oh my goodness. That was such an incredible play there from Christo. And having this mushroom as well as triple greens. Super, super unnecessary, but getting the job done. They're going to, looks like it's going to be at least a top 4 once again for Canada. Just asserting their dominance in this one.
Yeah. Yep, another top 4 from Canada, meaning that this is another very large winning race for them. But I think that Colombia raced pretty effectively, all things considering. It just seemed a little bit like a landslide near the end, but you can see over 100 from Canada in their top 4. Definitely one of the best scoring matches that we've seen so far.
Yeah, definitely a great match from Canada, and they look to build that momentum in the future. And I'm very excited to see what they can do moving forward. A big win. I think it was like 150. But again, if you're Colombia, you can't be too mad about that because Canada was the favorite in this one, but they lost by less than 200. So honestly, good job to them, and good job at least holding their own in the first half of that one. They actually did a very good job there.
Yeah, and I think that Colombia did race very effectively from a good at least 95% of the time, trying not to get squashed by poor Canada there. And I think that a lot of their track picks and their strategies were still very successful, even if Canada did end up winning. And this was such a great match to watch, and we really do appreciate everyone for tuning in to us. We don't have another broadcast for today, but hopefully we will have one for you guys tomorrow. We don't have our schedule yet, but we hope to see you guys then, and thank you so much for watching.